Hello. Yeah, let me see what we got here. Is that coming over? Is that coming over? Okay. Still getting set up here. And got that up. Okay. This may actually work again. Okay, if somebody could tell me if everything looks okay, the video and the audio, I'd appreciate it. I haven't done this in a while. And I was starting to experiment with something, so I thought, well, let's go ahead and record it. And the best way to record it is do a Hangout, because on a Hangout, I can record up to 8 hours. Well, I'm not going to talk for 8 hours. I probably won't last 20 minutes, but we're going to go. Anyway, it's still not 9 o'clock, which is the official start time. And again, once again, I did not announce this. I was just experimenting and thought I would record it. So we're going to give it a go. And I'll try to explain what I'm doing a couple of times during the show, because people are just going to be dropping by since I didn't schedule this. And I'm trying to hold off and not start it until the official start time. So stand by. Let me change this over here. Turn that off. There we go. If I got any audio coming through.
800-958-5306. 800-958-5306. That's 800-958-5306. To the music on Radio Miami International, WRMI.
Okay. That's WRMI, which is still pretty weak, and it's supposedly the transmitter's in Miami, Florida, just south of me. But conditions are not too good for shortwave. Hold on. Yeah, nobody's watching. Okay, I am going to start anyway. There's nobody watching, and like I say, mainly I'm using the Hangout to do a recording, a long-term recording, because if I try to do a recording and a screen capture and run SDRUNO, sometimes that gets kind of flaky. Plus, I've got other things I'm going to try to run. So here we go. I'm running SDRUNO, the latest version, which has this scanning feature right here, And to me, that brings a lot of options to the table that I've been looking for a long time, because I'm also heavy into scanner radios. But of course, most scanner radios don't work on HF. So that's why I'm kind of excited about this. Although I have been told by the people at SDR Play that it's not, the scan feature is not optimized for HF. It works better on VHF and UHF, but it seems to work fine for me now that I've got some help from them about getting it to go on HF. So we're going to wait a few more minutes and before I get into the meat of what I'm trying to do. So just stand by. I don't know if anybody's even watching. No, there's nobody. Well, maybe there's one person besides myself watching. And of course, the drive-bys, when they come by and just, happen to stop in because, like I say, I didn't announce this ahead of time. If I'm not doing something really interesting, they just go their merry way, which that's totally understandable. Let me see what I've got over here. It's, by the way, it is where I'm at. It's 8:54 a.m. here in Tampa Bay area in Florida. Not the best time for me to listen to shortwave, but I'm doing more of an experiment rather than trying to actually listen to stations per se, whatever that means. Oh, God, move a chair. Okay, I'm not going to hesitate anymore. I'm going to proceed on. What I've been attempting to do is using this this scanner option in SDRUNO to search for stations automatically, autonomously. And the way I'm trying to do it is in SDRUNO, you can have under the scanner option, you can do a memory scan. And what that does is you load this memory panel with frequencies and tell it to scan those frequencies. And you can either have it to stop and stay on a frequency when it finds a signal, or you can have it just stay there for a couple of seconds, a number of seconds. For instance, I come up here, here are the options. I'm having it hold for only 2 seconds because I'm looking for stations. And my threshold this morning is minus 75 dB. I tried to go lower, but the noise level is moving up and down and it kept stopping. Now, what I have done is I've taken let me go over here. Here you can do an import of the EIBI CSV file, which you can download off the internet, which is a huge, huge listing of stations throughout the band. I think it starts at like 100 hertz or 100 kilohertz, way down there. And it goes up to, I think, 30 megahertz. But what I did is I downloaded that file and then I chopped it up into smaller files, one of them being a range around the 41 meter band. It actually extends beyond that. And I saved that file in the original format. And I loaded that into using import into this memory bank. And now, because I've done that, I can have the scan function scan all these frequencies. The problem is the EIB file lists every station on every frequency, and it lists some stations multiple times because they might be on the air on that frequency on different times of the day. For example, if you look here, China radio is listed like 5 or 6 times here, which means when it does a scan, it will go through each one of those entries, sit there for 2 seconds, which is what I have it set up for, and then go to the next one, and so on and so on. So it takes forever to get through this. Now, what one needs to do is, and see if I've got it open here. Yeah, I've got it open here. Here is that 49 meter chunk that I sliced off and put into a CSV file. Here it is. It has, and it goes from, I chose to make it from 5.9 megahertz to 6.9, which is beyond the 41 meter band, but I wanted to include some other things. And by doing that, there are 1,500 plus entries because see all these duplicates here? And they're the same frequency, just different times. And what I attempted to do about a half hour ago, and I think I started on this one. Let's see. No, I didn't. So this is the original. So what I attempted to do is in Excel, go through and remove all these duplicates and just leave the first entry. And that would probably cut it down to at least half. Plus, like here, channel radio, it's 59 or 5.905. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoop, I went too far. 7 entries under China radio. So I could delete 6 of them because all they are is the same frequency, the same station, but different times of the day. So I don't need all those other ones. And that would speed up the scan. And same down here. This is the next one. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could delete 3 of those. But it takes forever to do that. I went through maybe 20% of this file and deleted the duplicates, and it took me like 20 minutes. So I'm not very good at that. So what you have to do is you have to go through here and you find one where a duplicate starts. So right here, for instance. So I highlight those and then I say delete. So I've deleted all but the first entry. Okay, I do the same thing here. Let the first one stay. Highlight the next ones. Delete. I'm sure if you're an expert in Excel, you can automate this process. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert by many means. So that's my first hurdle I have to overcome, is to reduce the size of these files, because I'll show you here. Let's go back to SDRUNO. And if we turn it, we start the radio, and then let's turn the mute on. And then we start the scan. So it's scanning, and you can see the entry is changing, but the frequency is not, because all these entries are the same frequency. And each time it finds a signal above the threshold I've set, it's going to dwell there for 2 seconds. Now I could make that 1 second, and I probably will. Okay, and it's also controlling mute on me. Okay, let's stop. So you can see this is extremely slow. It's doing exactly what I want it to do, but it's extremely slow. Now we get a drink. Hold on. Okay, I do have the chat window set up, but it's on a computer across the room. So if you put something in the chat, it may take me a while to recognize it. So that's what that is. If anybody could, in the chat, if they could put an indication of the audio and video quality, I'd appreciate it, although I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so that's what I want to do. And then once I get that cut down to a reasonable number, and it probably will even in this short range, and you can make, when you do the memory scan, you can have it scan all over the place. So you don't have to restrict it to, a certain area. And this memory database will hold the entire EIB database, which is, 10,000 entries. Because I've done that before, where I've used a database not to scan, but when I'm manually scanning, to tell me what is on that particular frequency by coming over here and setting filter by frequency. And so right now I'm at 5.95, and these are all the stations and entries at that frequency. You can see just that frequency alone, it's going to take, and there's WRMI, that's what we're hearing. Just this frequency alone is going to take a while to scan, especially if it has to stop. So, you know, if I can if I can get these files reduced, and like look at all these entries for WRMI. If I could get rid of all these, just think how much faster it's going to scan. Now, let's turn that off so we see all the entries. So now we're seeing the whole database that I've created. And we can let it scan again. And so you can see it scanning. But see, the frequency doesn't change rapidly because there are so many entries. Like here it is at 5.915. And it probably stopped there because it had a signal above the threshold. So it waited the 2 seconds. Okay, then once I get that solved by somehow getting those databases reduced, then I can come over here and turn on this power and signal to noise ratio to a CSV file, and it will record in a CSV file the stations it's found during the scan. And then I'll have my own little database of frequencies that are active recently. And that's my ultimate goal. It's going to take me a while, especially since this is, like I said before, this is only 5.9 to 6.9 megahertz. That's a little chunk out of the EIB big file. And you can, you know, I plan on making a whole bunch of these little chunks that I can use to tell it to scan. And all you do is you come over here. Let me stop it. Stop the radio. You come over here and you import the CSV file, and then for instance, I've created a shrunk down one of say 31 meter band, and then I can import that CSV file, and then I can save that file in the format of this program, and then now I've got the program, the file that I can open as a bank, and it doesn't have to import it. Not a big deal. The importing is not a big deal. So that's my goal. It's going to take quite a bit of work because I can see I'm not very good, not very efficient of Excel. And there's probably, I can say there's probably an algorithm you could write in Excel to say search the entries for a duplicate. Once you find a duplicate, delete it. If the next one is a duplicate of the first one you found, delete it, and do that automatically. You could probably do it in a couple of seconds. I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to do that. So I'm doing it manually, and it's very time consuming. I don't know if I get to. Now, what would be ideal for me, so I didn't have to do that, is if there was an EIB data bank that didn't have these duplicate entries. From the standpoint of they didn't, like here's China Radio, they didn't have an entry on that frequency for China Radio for every time they're on the air. Just the fact that China Radio uses that frequency. So it basically will have done what I want to do. That would be nice, but I don't think it exists. Would be nice maybe if we could kind of get together and as a project do that. Or if somebody is, very versed at Excel and they could figure out how to do that faster, that would be ideal. But that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's what I wanted to show you this morning. Let me check the chat room just in case somebody may be in the chat room. Okay. Okay, we did get a confirmation that the video and audio is okay from driver software, driver film software. Thank you very much. I'm always concerned that the audio is chopping up because I'm running a lot of things right now on this computer. I'm running SDRUNO, I'm running Excel, I'm running Hangouts. But it seems to be working. So that is what I'm attempting to do. It is laborious trying to make these files like this one here. This is just that one chunk, 5.9 to 6.9 megahertz out of the total EIB database. And like I said before, it is over 1,500 entries. And you can see duplicates all over the place, which is, good data. I'm not saying this is not good data, but for what I'm trying to use it for, it is a lot of duplications. And for instance, there's a lot in this band, there's a lot of SPY number stations that I'm not really interested in them. So I can delete those. So that's what I'm attempting to do. If you got any suggestions, I'd greatly appreciate it. Let me go back to the program here. And it, what I'm doing is working. It's just that I have all these entries. Here they are. Here's the entries from that database. And so like here, Zambia, look at all the entries on that one. Look at, I can't believe that. Look at all the entries on that one frequency. And if you go back in the EIB database, you will see all these entries are for different times that the station is broadcast. So, but I could delete a ton right there. It's probably 20 or 30 I could delete right there in a big one swoop. All righty. I think that's about it. Again, I was just kind of using this venue to capture what I was doing, the experimenting I was doing, and see if I could get any inputs. Let me check the chat room one more time. Okay. Not too many people up. I forgot that it was Sunday morning. So in the United States, a lot of people are not up this time of day. So I'm going to call it quits. Thanks to a few of you that stopped by. And have a great day. Bye-bye.